Hello YouTube, this is Cormer22 here, back with another 100-point squadron build for Star Wars X-Wing miniatures. Tonight we're looking at a slightly different build than the ones I've been doing as of late. This one is a swarm build for the Rebel Alliance, consisting of 5 Z95 X-Wing, 5 Z95 Headhunters, and an HWK-290. Now, the strategy behind this build is strength in numbers. The Z95s are going to be the ones doing most of the fighting. So they're going to be charging in head first, guns blazing, and hoping to using their sheer numbers to overpower the enemy ships. Whereas the HWK-290 is kind of going to be hanging back a bit, and what he's going to be doing is he's going to be supplying, he's going to be supporting the ships from a distance with focus token, with abilities that can help his squadron gain focus tokens faster or attack with better efficiency and all that stuff. So with that said, let's move on to their stats. So as you can see, we've got quite a lot of ship cards here. Not that many upgrade cards. Because again, this is a 100-point squadron build and kind of limited on what I can do here with this swarm build. But nevertheless, let's get into it. Our first ship will be the command ship of this group. And he will be Kal Katarn. Kal Katarn has a pilot skill of 6. He pilots the Rebel Alliance HWK-290. He has a attack value of 1, an agility value of 2, a hull value of 4, and a shield value of 1. He can take on the focus and lock-on action. He costs 21 squad points, and he can be upgraded with the elite pilot talent upgrade, a turret upgrade, and a co-pilot upgrade. His ability states, at the start of the combat phase, you may assign one of your focus tokens to another friendly ship at range 1 to 3. So yeah, like I said, Kal Katarn and his HWK-290 is going to be mainly used as a command ship. He's going to be gaining focus tokens, and should he need to assign them to any of his friendly ships at range 1 to 3, well, he can. But there's a bit of a problem with that. Ships can only use their actions only once, unless stated by a free action. And after every round, if you have a focus left on your ship, you have to discard at the end of the round. Luckily, we have modification cards to take care of that. This one being a title card used strictly only for the HWK-290, and that is the Moldy Crow. It's a title card that's only for the HWK-290, and it states, during the end phase, do not remove unused focus tokens from your ship. This is going to help make Kal Katarn be a very effective command ship in the long run. Because with this title card, this makes it that any leftover focus tokens that Kyle hasn't discarded, he can keep and carry over into the next round, which will be useful because the upgrade cards I've given him are going to help him gain as many focus tokens as possible to help supply his squadron and also help defend himself at the same time. The first upgrade I've given him is Push the Limit. It states, once per round after you perform an action, you may perform one free action shown in your action bar, then receive a stress token. Now, this states that after Kyle does, say, a focus, he has the option of taking on another focus after that, at the cost of getting a stress token. This won't really hamper him that much, because most often, for the most of the round, that Kyle is going to be hanging back from the rest of his squadron. So that allows him to make lots of green maneuvers to help keep his stress level at minimum. And then, in order to help him learn even more focus at a faster rate, I've given him a Recon Specialist. This states when you perform a focus action, you can assign one additional focus token to your ship. So, with Recon Specialist combined with Push the Limit, Kyle is able to take a total of 3 focus points, 3 focus tokens, and if he chooses not to use any of them, he can hold on to those with his Moldy Crow title card until the next phase. And then, of course, the next activation phase, he'll get another 3 stress. He'll get another 3 focus. So, yeah. However, because Kyle's attack value is completely dismal, is absolutely dismal, his agility rating is kind of average, I've decided to give him a blaster turret as his turret upgrade. It has an attack value of 3 and can be used at range 1 to 2. It states, spend 1 focus token to perform this attack against one ship, even a ship outside your firing arc. Because it's a turret, it has omnidirectional firing. It has an omnidirectional firing capabilities, meaning it can attack in every direction, so long as an enemy ship is in range 1 to 2. This makes Kyle so that he's not completely defenseless, because this blaster turret has 2 points higher than his standard attack. So yeah, as you can tell, the HWK-290 is not really good at a straight-up dogfight. It's mainly used as a support ship. And with the blaster turret, it gives him some added defense against enemy ships that try to attack him, regardless of what direction they come at him from. So, now we've got Kyle Katarn out of the way, let's move on to his squad mates. The first squad we have here is a Talus Squadron pilot, and there's 2 of them in this squadron. He has a pilot skill of 4, and he flies the Incom Z95 Headhunter. They have an attack value of 2, an agility value of 2, a hull value of 2, and a shield value of 2. They can take on the focus and lock on action. They cost 13 squadron points, so they're very cheap. They're about as cheap as a standard Academy pilot X-Wing TIE fighter. And they can take on the concussion missile upgrade. Because the Talus Squadron pilots are common pilots, they do not possess abilities. But then again, these guys are mainly they're going to be supported by Kyle Katarn's ability, so having these ships with no abilities doesn't really hinder that much. For one of them, however, for an added boost in firepower, I've given one of them an ion pulse missile. They have an attack value of 3. They must be used at range 2 to 3, and they state, discard this card to perform this attack. If this attack hits, the defender suffers 1 damage and receives 2 ion tokens, and then I cancel all dice results. So the ion pulse missile works very similarly to the ion cannon turret. Only difference being is that it can be used at range 2 to 3, has the same attack value, and when it hits an opponent, the opponent suffers 2 ion damage. 2 ion damage suffers 1 regular damage, and then all the other hit results are canceled. The ion pulse missile is also pretty good for disabling large ships, because they require 2 ion tokens to be completely disabled for just 1 round. And just in case the ion pulse missile misses, I have given Talus Squadron pilot here a munitions failsafe, which makes it so that if I'm attacking with a secondary and I miss, I don't discard the secondary. Now for the rest of the pilots, the rest of the squadron, I've included Bandit Squadron pilots. They have an attack value of 2. They fly the Incom Z95 AF4 Headhunter. They have an attack, like the Talus Squadron pilots, they have an attack value of 2, an agility value of 2, a hull value of 2, and a shield value of 2. They can take on the focus and lock on action. They cost 12 squadron points, so they're 1 point cheaper than the Talus Squadron pilots. And they can take on a concussion missile upgrade. Again, because these are standard common pilots, they do not have an ability. But again, Kyle's ability and his upgrades will help make sure that these ships perform at the best of their ability. So this is the Rebel Alliance squadron build that I've come with. Its advantages? Well, its biggest advantage is strength in numbers. The Empire is going to be your enemy is going to be dealing with 5 pretty decent starfighters. I mean, the Z-95s, they're not quite as powerful as the rest of the ships, but their strength is that they're pretty balanced. So they've got two of each value. They can take on the focus and lock on action, and they're relatively cheap, and they have a slot for concussion missiles. So yeah, overall they're pretty good. They're pretty good ships to have if you're trying to overwhelm your opponents with a strength in numbers tactic. While they're off doing the fighting, Kyle Katarn will be sitting back, gathering stress tokens to supply his ships with his push the limit and recon specialist. And with Moldy Crow, he can hold on to those focus tokens for the next round and gain more and more tokens to help assist his ships the best way he can. Now, this squadron's weakness is actually quite big. If, for any reason, Kyle Katarn is destroyed, the entire squadron basically falls apart. Well, because the bulk of the squad is Kyle Katarn gathers focus tokens and supplies them to the rest of his ships with his ability, and helps them perform to their best of their ability. However, like I said, if Kyle Katarn is destroyed, then the rest of the squadron suffers, and they can only perform to their, the best of their own abilities without the support of their command ship. And even then, the bandits, the bandit and Talus Squadron pilots, they can't take much damage. They got 4 hit points each. Their agility value and attack value are pretty they're so-so. And yeah, that's these ships are pretty easy to take down. I mean, they have 1 point, they have 1 hit point higher than a standard TIE fighter, or rather a TIE fighter or TIE interceptor. But yeah, these I know from experience that these ships can be taken down with only a handful of hits, if they're yeah. So this is my Z95 Headhunter Swarm build. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Any constructive criticism is greatly appreciated. If you like, you can use this build in casual play or tournaments, or if you want, you can tweak it you can tweak it to your own specifications or completely revamp it into your own make. And yeah, this is Corbin22 signing off.